Welcome to today's Retirees with Certified Financial Planner Wayne Maslyk of Great Lakes Benefits and Wealth Management. Anchored in family values, Wayne offers practical advice to help you get the most out of your retirement years. For more information, visit today'sretirees.com. Now, here's your host.
And welcome to today's Retirees with Certified Financial Planner Wayne Maslyk of Great Lakes Benefits and Wealth Management. You know, about 100 years ago, we were fortunate in this country for Uncle Sam to build us a retirement system. I'm just joking, actually. Social Security is a plan that most of us are aware of, and we're going to talk about that today. We have a special guest, Hamilton Morales, and I'll let you introduce this young man. He's in town doing some work for you. And Social Security is one of those things that all of us have to deal with, and most of us look at it as say, when I get X age, I'm drawing my money because it's owed to me. And we just call the Social Security Department up or go to their website and sign up, and here we have it.
Yeah, and a lot of those folks, it's predetermined in their own mind when they're going to take it. You know, they just talk to the wife, or wife talks to Mister, and yeah, I'm going to retire, and I'll just start my Social Security the month after I retire. Or some people don't wait till they retire. They take it early because they want what's theirs. And in many, many, many cases, it's just they did it the wrong way. You know, I get people in many instances, clientele, and it's already done. It's, you know, they've already elected. It is what it is, and we got to deal with it. You know, the taxation, the low benefits, potential low survivor benefits for the spouse, and they just messed up. They did the wrong thing. So Hamilton Morales, who came in from Charlotte, we flew him in for a couple Social Security workshops to teach and educate people on things to think about before you elect your Social Security benefits, and also, which we'll get into later in the show, things to think about even once you've elected your benefits, you know, managing the taxation on that and things like that. So we'll just start, real quick. Where did Social Security come from, Hamilton? Why do we have this crutch, this thing that everyone tends to rely on too much? And, how did it start?
Yeah. So in 1935, President Roosevelt signed it into law, and it was designed to give retired workers a benefit. And wasn't designed to be their retirement. It was designed to keep them out of poverty. So, let's kind of go back a little bit and let's think about what was going on during that period of time. And of course, everybody knows it was the Great Depression. And before the Great Depression, how did people save for retirement? They didn't have 401ks, they didn't have a pension. So how did people save for retirement? Well, mainly four ways. They put money in the stock market, they put money in the banks, they maybe had a business or a farm. And so with the latter two, typically what you would see is mom and dad maybe owned the business or the farm, and when they decided to retire, they would either sell the business or the farm, or the kids would take it over and take care of mom and dad. That's just kind of how it worked back then. And so back in 1929, we had the stock market crash, and so that was the first domino to fall. And so you had all these people that had their money, their retirement savings in the stock market, and poof, literally overnight it was gone. And so the next step was, well, oh my goodness, this is happening. I'm going to go get my money from the bank. And so you had all these people going to the bank wanting to get their money. Well, that was the run on the banks. The banks didn't have all that money sitting there, and they couldn't afford to pay all these people that money. And so the banks started folding. And then because people didn't have money because of the stock market, because of the bank, they couldn't buy goods and services. Businesses started to falter, and of course when the businesses started to falter, there was nobody to buy the produce and things from the farmers to sell in their business. And so the farm started going out of business. So it was really difficult time in our history as it relates to that, because you just couldn't find a place to work to make money. And then you had some people that just physically could not work. And so Roosevelt had this broad idea to have a safety net, which is Social Security. So in 1937, after it was signed into law, they started taking the first taxes to put in the coffers for Social Security. And it's interesting because back then the full retirement age was 65. The funny part about that was the life expectancy back then was early 60s, 61, 62. So they were assuming nobody's, going to be around.
Very
few people would do that.
Right.
The funny thing is that the very first person who took Social Security, I cannot remember her name to save my life, but she never paid into Social Security, but she hit the age 65, started taking it, and she lived to be 100.
Oh my!
So she really got it over on the government, if you will.
So a quick the tax burden for Social Security at that time for individuals was, do you recall what that was?
You mean from the standpoint of paying into
Yes.
it? I mean, it was, I don't remember what the percentage was at that time.
I'm just curious if you...
Obviously, it's changed over the years quite a bit.
Yeah. But, the taxation on your Social Security now, how you get taxed on it if your income is over certain levels, different if you're single versus married, filing jointly. Yeah, I learned from Hamilton recently that those numbers, those thresholds that we have now, haven't been inflation adjusted since the early 80s.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, when your income gets over, say $45,000 for married filing joint, you could be up to 85% of your Social Security can be included. Those same numbers were used 40 years ago.
Okay.
It's crazy. So people have to be careful when they take it and time the best time tax-wise, not only the amount of the benefit, but the taxation on it, which we're going to get into in a little bit.
Wow.
Most folks think it's a very simple decision taking their Social Security. Like we talked earlier, they have a number in their mind and age, and they're just going to take it when they take it. And then sometimes the spouse takes it as soon as they can, or it may not be the best thing to do. There are many factors to look at and consider, such as your health, your family's health, health history, genes, right? Your spouse's health. Are you working? Is your spouse going to continue to work?
Sure.
That has a lot to do with it. If someone's going to live a ripe old age, they're healthy, they're picture of health, they eat right, work out regularly, exercise, versus this person that, smokes and drinks and doesn't, the life expectancy of the two are probably pretty different. Right. Add some family history to that, and that may even be part of a factor of when a person takes it. We'll talk more about those details right after the break here, Richard.
Well, in my brain, I see 4 scenarios, and I wrote them down because I knew we were going to do this. You take it as soon as you're eligible, just bang, you're gone. You take it at your full retirement age and you quit working, just, or you wait, 70? You have
70.
to, and then you quit, or you take it at your full retirement age and work all you can and just and invest it. Those are the those are the only 4 ways, right?
But even that is, like more detailed than the simplified way that most people do it.
Okay.
But there's even more to consider than just those 4 things.
Oh, wow.
You'll see here in a minute.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk more about some of the pitfalls that you can avoid if you do it well. Go to Wayne's website at todaysretirees.com. We'll be back right after this.
Double check that. Pretty good. Yeesh. Not crying, are you? Let's tighten that and... Ooh.
Wait, what was that?
What? No, don't worry about that. Here we go.
Asking the right question can greatly impact your future.
Are you qualified to do this?
What?
Especially when it comes to your finances.
Do you have a question?
Are you a certified financial planner?
Yes, I'm a CFP professional.
CFP professionals are committed to acting in your best interest. That's why it's gotta be a CFP.
And welcome back to today's Retirees with Certified Financial Planner Wayne Maslyk of Great Lakes Benefits and Wealth Management. Today's program, we're talking about Social Security. I know it's a great topic and everybody's just dying to talk about it. It's exciting, but it really is some things that we need to pay attention to, especially if we haven't already taken our Social Security. There are ways that you can take your Social Security that will bite you down the road, if I can use that term. Or there are ways that you can help yourself and your family going down the road. And we have, Wayne brought in a guest, Hamilton Morales from Charlotte, North Carolina. Great little city, by the way. It's not little anymore.
No, it's definitely not little.
That place is huge. But so, as we left the last time, we were talking about, I'll use my word, the pitfall of just taking it when you're eligible to take it and not looking through the different scenarios.
Yeah, so to give you an example, I don't know, Hamilton from, say, full retirement age, 66 or 7, if somebody takes it at 62, right when they can get it, what is that reduction?
Yeah, so it all depends on when your full retirement age is, and so everybody should know what their full retirement age is. It's pretty simple. So for those that were born between 1943 and 1954, their full retirement age is 66. For every year that you go above that, it goes up 2 months. So if you were born in 55, it's 66 and 2 months. If you're born in 56, 66 and 4 months, so on and so forth, until you get to 1960. And those born 1960 and after, their full retirement age is 67. So kind of keep it simple. If your full retirement age is 66 and you take it right at 62, it's a 25% reduction. For me, my full retirement age is 67. So if I were to take it at 62, the reduction would be 30%. So it just really depends on when you take it. And when they look at it, it's not just 62. Is it 62 in 1 month? Is it 62 in 6 months? Is it 63 in 4 months?
Sure.
So they look at exactly when you take it, and they compare that to when your full retirement age is. They look at how many months are in between, and they have a chart that they look up. Okay, this is how many months in between. Let me look up those months. Okay, this is how much you get to keep of your full retirement age benefit amount.
So if say the main breadwinner, say it's a Mr.'s benefit is $2,000 at full retirement age. He gets his 25% reduction as an example. So he would get $1,500 instead of the $2,000. So there's break-even points, 13, 14 years, where if you waited till full retirement age and take, that's simple stuff. But a lot of times the spouse is forgotten about. So he took his early, got a 25% reduction. Now he passes away. He didn't live as long as he was supposed to or whatever. So now his spouse gets that reduced benefit. Instead of her getting the $2,000 plus cost of living increases, I might add, those are lower also because if you take it early, because those get reduced. So his spouse is going to be stuck with this small Social Security payment, smaller. And if she was on Social Security also, say she had claimed or elected, she will get either hers, I'm talking in generalities here, we have pension offsets and stuff, which we could talk about in a little bit, but she'll either get hers or his. If hers was smaller, she's going to get his $1,500.
Okay.
That's what she's got to live on.
Wow.
So if they didn't have any other pensions or enough savings to subsidize the income, do you know any widow that can live on $1,500?
Right.
So, whereas if that person would have waited, then the widow would get higher benefits, considerably higher, plus the cost of living increases every year that you get. So it could really hurt your loved ones. I know people want to get it in their hands. They paid for it, but that is one thing to consider. And when you're making those decisions, you have to look at other things. You mentioned your health, your income, your spouse's income,
Age difference. Between the husband and the wife too as well.
Really?
Well, think about this for a second. So let's take what he was just talking about. And you got the husband, he turns it on at 62, so instead of getting $2,000, he's getting $1,500. Let's say there's a pretty big spread between him and her. And so statistically speaking, the male's going to go first. That's just kind of the way it works, but especially in this case because there's such a huge gap.
Sure.
So let's say he passes away down the line, and now she becomes eligible for the widow's benefit. And let's say she's under her full retirement age when she becomes eligible, and she decides to go ahead and take the widow's benefit at that time. Well, guess what? That $1,500 will get reduced again because of her age when she decides to elect it, because she's under full retirement age.
My.
So she gets a double whammy. Again, she may not know any different, right? And so that's why we feel like it is so important not only to educate people as much as possible, but they need to have somebody to go to be able to walk through this and ask those questions, because you can't really go to Social Security. They're not supposed to give you advice. First of all,
They have disclaimers.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not there to give you advice.
Can't do it, even though sometimes it happens. I can tell you stories, but the fact is they do need to have somebody to walk them through, especially when you lose a loved one. That's one of the last things you want to have to deal with is making those tough decisions. You need to have somebody to help walk you through that and explain how it works and how it's going to benefit you, depending on when you want to do that.
So I'm going to add a couple other things before we break. Your income, why does your income matter? Well, if you're going to make a certain amount of income and elect your Social Security, there's going to be additional taxes on your Social Security. Okay? If you're not full retirement age, you can have your Social Security benefits reduced, even though you're getting them. And if you are full retirement age and you are earning money, you could be causing more of your Social Security to be included in your taxable income.
Wow, okay.
If you make certain withdrawals out of taxable accounts, IRAs, for instance, and you make this withdrawal, say to buy a car, pull 20, 30 grand out, well, now you're going to cause more of your Social Security, or up to 85%, to be taxed. So you pulled that money out to buy your car, you paid the tax on the IRA withdrawal, now you're going to pay more tax on your Social Security. You just paid double taxation, and that car cost you more than it should have.
Sure.
Where if you maybe waited the following year to take your Social Security, bought your car now you get the money for the car, normal taxation. You're not getting your Social Security overtaxed. And by waiting that extra how many months, you're going to get a higher Social Security payout. That's just one example of looking down the road to see, are we going to have extra income? Should I wait to take my Social Security? And somebody needs to be working with a professional like me, certified financial planner professional, who has access for things I don't know to folks like Hamilton. Hamilton's a phone call away. He's here in person now. Some of my clients have talked to him already, being in town. So it's very valuable, and people really have to think through when they take their Social Security for their own good and their loved ones' good.
Well, this is what you have been preaching on this program for the many years that we've been doing it. Work with a certified financial planner like yourself so you don't make these kinds of mistakes. Put a plan together that makes sense for your
insurance agent, your brokers, your stock jock guy that buys stocks and bonds for you. They're not going to help you with this.
Sure.
They don't know it. That's not their job. They're not even interested in it most of the time. So, don't be shy, folks. Get a hold of us. I'm happy to walk you through this process.
Sure. Absolutely.
Whether you've elected or even if you're already on Social Security.
So go to Wayne's website, todaysretirees.com, or set up an appointment by going, and I got a toll-free number at 866-626-3990, or we'll be back right after this.
Hi, my name's Wayne Maslyk. I'm a certified financial planner and owner and president of Great Lakes Benefits and Wealth Management. I'm making this video because I'd like to offer you, at no charge, a free newsletter that I send to all of my clients and prospects monthly. The newsletter is filled with little tidbits on investing and finances, and we have recipes. But most importantly, I write a personal message in there monthly, whether it's purchasing vehicles, whether it's investing your money, passing assets to your children, trying to lower your taxes, you name it. If it has to do with financial planning, it will be in the newsletter at some point. I keep the information light, though. It's not political. We're not talking economics, nothing like that. It's fun stuff, a little bit about my family monthly, client examples of how we can help people. We won't bug you. All you're going to do is get our monthly newsletter. We keep your information safe. We don't sell it. We don't give it to any other marketer. The sole purpose is to get the word out that I am the go-to source in this area for financial planning.
And welcome back to Today's Retirees with certified financial planner Wayne Maslyk of Great Lakes Benefits and Wealth Management. We're talking about Social Security today, and if you missed the first two segments, you may want to go to Wayne's website at todaysretirees.com. From there, you'll find a link to his YouTube channel, and you can watch these episodes and these different segments about Social Security. Hamilton Morales from Charlotte, North Carolina is with us today, and he is an expert in Social Security. You're too young to be an expert in Social Security. I thought you had to be like 95.
No. It's all about knowledge, not how long you've been around.
Okay. So one of the things, as we've talked about this, and some of the pitfalls, does your I know that when you are paying in your Social Security tax and stuff, it's taxed up to a point. So if you are a little more well off, you've paid more, at some point, those taxes. So what happens when you retire, you decide to draw your Social Security down, and you still want to work?
Yeah. That all depends on when you want to do all that stuff.
Okay.
So if you're under full retirement age and you decide, you know what, I'm going to continue to work, but I'm going to go ahead and draw my Social Security, right? I don't think the government's going to be around. I don't think Social Security's going to be around. I'm going to get what I can right now. So if you do that, you could be subject to what's called the earnings test. And so what the earnings test is in 2023 says that if you earn, this is wages, it has to be earned wages, over $21,240, for every $2 you earn above that, they're going to withhold $1 of your Social Security benefits. So you could have, and it's based off of your gross income, your gross earned wages, I should say, you could earn enough to where they would withhold the whole thing from you. You wouldn't get anything.
Oh, wow.
And so now that money doesn't go away. It's not a tax. It's a withholding. Once you retire or you hit full retirement age, whichever happens first, the money that they withheld, they're going to recalculate that back into your benefit based off of your life expectancy. So you'll see a little bit of an increase, but unless you live past your full retirement age, your life expectancy, you're not going to realize getting all that money back that they withheld. So you've got to think about that. And what we see a lot is these people say, I'm going to retire. I'm going to turn on my Social Security at 62. Life's going to be good. And they never really give a thought to, what am I going to do when I retire? Right? Sure. So now they retire, they take their Social Security. A year later, they're pulling their hair out. What am I doing? I'm bored to death. Their wife is ready to kick them out of the house. Or, this is what we hear a lot, I've got this great opportunity to do consulting work. Right? So now it's a year later, and they've got this income coming in that they weren't expecting to have come in. Again, income being earned wages. And so now they're subject to the earnings test, and they have to deal with that. And so you really need to give thought, not only from a financial perspective, but also, what are you going to do? Well, how are you going to keep yourself busy in retirement? And all these things come together, and that's why you have to have a planner, somebody who's going to look at not only the financial side, but also the life side.
Sure.
That's important. Now, if you're at full retirement age or over, and you take Social Security and you want to continue to work, you don't have to worry about the earnings test. It does not apply. So it's only if you're under full retirement age.
One thing I do want to address, because we don't have much time left, and there's so much in electing Social Security. Just so much we're not going to cover even a fraction of it. I would like Hamilton, a lot of our clients and people in the area worked for public service, right? For schools, whatever else. And you said a number too in Ohio. You have some numbers in Ohio, how many people don't pay into Social Security, but some pay into both. What are the issues when someone's paid into Social Security, paid into a public, teacher's pension or whatever? Right. What do they got to look out for?
Yeah, so with Social Security, it typically falls underneath what's called the windfall elimination provision. I call it WEP, just to keep it short. And if you have under 30 years of substantial earnings paid into Social Security, you're going to fall underneath this. If you're a public servant, if you paid into a pension. It's called a non-covered pension. It's not covered by Social Security.
Like a teacher. Government worker.
In fact, Ohio is the largest state in the U.S. Where 97% of all public employees do not pay into Social Security.
Oh, wow.
So it's huge here. And so you have to deal with that. So these people know that if they did qualify for Social Security because of a job that they had prior to, or maybe they did some work even during those years, they paid into Social Security through that. So they do have Social Security, but the government doesn't let you fully double dip. And so with the WEP, they're going to reduce your benefit. And that's where the WEP comes in. And then there's also what I call the evil twin, which is the government pension offset, GPO. And that has to do with the same person, but as their ability to qualify for spousal or widow's benefits because of their public pension.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so even like in that example, just a quick example, sometimes it makes sense for a public servant or teacher to not take their pension, put that off for a while.
Right.
And take their Social Security prior to that, so their Social Security doesn't get reduced.
Oh.
Just things like that. We're not recommending people do that, but in some cases it makes sense to do. There's so many things involved, especially if they work, paid into a non-covered pension, which is the public.
Well, this is the reason that folks need to talk to men like you.
Absolutely.
I say men. I mean, it can be but a certified financial planner.
Yeah, and I can't stress that enough. I mean, we do it with investing and income planning and estate planning, tax planning. This is probably more important than all that because this is a lifelong decision.
Yeah.
It's like the most important thing you need to get advice on before you elect.
So we only have a minute or two left. When should that person come looking for you? I mean, at 60, because you're making these decisions. You're thinking at 62 years old.
So you're not making those, and that's a good question. You want to think about them and plan for them as to when to make them. So the earlier the better. Now you can log on to SSA.gov, right? Those Social Security projection benefits don't come anymore, right? You might get one now and then. But you could log in, you know what your benefits are, you see what your projected benefits are, you know what you're going to be earning moving forward, and you could start planning for this stuff. So you don't just have a date in mind on a whim, you've actually planned for the date with the experts, like me and Hamilton, the CPA, and now we know the proper time and date to take our Social Security, and you make that decision with confidence.
Sure.
The plan can always be changed.
Okay.
But you got to get a plan in place. And then you adjust as you move along because life happens.
Sure.
But you got to get a plan in place.
Right. And that's what Wayne has been preaching on this program for many years now, is to come in and see him. Go to his website, todaysretirees.com, set up an appointment, 866-626-3990.
Don't forget about the newsletter too. A lot of information in that.
So all of that is there on the website. We are out of time, unfortunately, but we will see you the next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Today's Retirees with certified financial planner Wayne Maslyk of Great Lakes Benefits and Wealth Management. Visit todaysretirees.com or call 866-626-3990 to schedule a no-cost appointment with Wayne. Today's Retirees is brought to you by Great Lakes Benefits and Wealth Management, family-focused retirement and tax planning services, anchored in family values. Information and opinions discussed on Today's Retirees do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this station. Opinions expressed should not be substituted for individualized consultation with a qualified financial advisor. For specific information, call 866-626-3990 or visit todaysretirees.com.